Views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Friday, the 16th. Hold up. It's the 16th, right, you guys?
You got it right today.
You know, I got to ask these things. I've been getting my dates mixed up, Jackie. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindos. I'm Jamel Hartman, along with Carla Zool and Jackie Lambert. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you're watching online, share the link. If you're on Facebook, start a watch party. If you're on Twitter, retweet it. If you're watching on Channel 82 or listening on the Full 100 radio station, call someone up and let them know we're on. And it's Friday, so crazy Jackie is with us. Just get the conversation in the network. Don't forget to like and engage with us. Another good one today is Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks is stopping by for an important conversation. The Daily Play. It's the feud today. I think we're gonna have some fun with this one. Well, when don't we have fun with it? Because these two.
But you always pick a subliminal dirty one. Like, you know, he sets us up, Jackie, right?
Yeah, did you vet them properly today?
Hold on.
Last week you was just like, oh, I don't know.
No, I shuffle them. I you know, it's like a deck of cards. I shuffle them and then I come with the questions that are given to me, right? Are given to me.
Pass the blame.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little.
Anyway, it's been quite the week, you guys. So Katora Horton, parent chief, probably produced the video of the year yesterday, and it made the rounds. Yeah, I was forwarding it around to people in groups, but it made light of the government, right? And I don't know if anyone who hasn't seen the video, I'll get in trouble with Katora later. Well, that's because you have it, Carla, but yeah, you probably should view it. It's quite hilarious.
You got a good giggle.
But basically, she's making light of the situation, and you know, it's like Jackie. You know, everybody knows Jack is the comedian on here, and like comedian. You know, it's the same way Carla's the singer, right? Yeah, the comedian. And I must say, this is probably one of the funniest things next to Jack's werewolf thing last week, right? And if you haven't already, please go look. I don't know if you have Instagram. I'll ask Katora if she could put it on Facebook, but look at it. Look. Let me tell you what it done for me. The timeline needs this stuff, you folks. Like when Jack is on Twitter doing her thing, our timelines need this right now because you all out here, I mean, you're getting stressed over this stuff, man. I mean, it's probably rightfully so, but don't. What people used to say to me about conscription, don't let it kill you, man. Don't let it kill you.
Yeah, because anger's a poison, guys. You gotta release it. You gotta get that toxin.
Oh, they're releasing it, all right, Jackie. They're releasing
it in a healthier, like you gotta laugh about it. You gotta find humor in this dark place. It's dark out there.
At this point, no, but she's right. Like at this point, when I see forwards about David Byrd and the PLP and retractions and exemptions, at this point, like people must think, well, like, they already thought I was an ass, but they must think like this guy is really not taking anything seriously. Because I just laugh. I laugh because what was it, like 6 months ago or 7 months ago at this point, you all gave Mr. Premier a landslide victory. And now 7 months later, something's changed. I was watching, I'm a former Manchester United fan or a recovering Manchester United fan, however you want to say it. But I still watch the United Stand mornings when I'm on my jog. Well, listen to it. And something that was said today is about PR. Manchester United had lost 3 weeks ago to last day in the FA Cup, and they went on an international break. International break's basically a 2-week break from playing club games. Silence from the club. All of a sudden, they've qualified for the semi-finals of the Europa League, a poor man's Champions League. They've also second in the table after beating Tottenham Hotspur last week. And now you've got Paul Pogba, who's their problem child player, one of the best, but whose agents out there blabbing every 2 seconds, out there giving good PR for Manchester United and speaking poorly about previous coach Jose Mourinho, right? And the guy says this is perfect PR by the club because you have a player that doesn't want to be there, going after the former manager because all of a sudden the good manager looks good because of a victory and a place in the tables, right? Had they done this 2 weeks ago, it would not have went over well. I say that because I'm using the government perfectly. The timing of it all. This is not a shock to anybody, or it shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Remember when people were saying, well, hold on, the PLP has a few more years. Why are they calling an election right now? Remember that?
This is exactly why.
We knew what was coming. So when folks sit around and they're angry and they start to, question this and question that, like, you all gave them this power. You gave them the right to do what they're doing. No, I know some of you would say, oh, well, what do you want us to do? Choose the OBA? Nah, look, 2 bad apples on a tree are both bad. You don't have to eat any. You can find another fruit to eat. Find another tree to find apples.
Or you can not eat fruit at
all the time. There you go, Carla. Not eat fruit at all. But I used to say it all the time. We literally only believe the choices we have are the ones that they give to us. And until we change our minds and realize these aren't the only 2 options we have, then this is what we're going to get. A loving relationship today and 7 months from now on the verge of a nasty breakup. And that's exactly how I see it. But Carla, talk to me about some petition going around if you guys don't have anything to say on that, or Ed.
Oh, that just came out of right field. The petition with the fishermen and the farmers being able to have their fruit stands or fish stands. It's in the newscast, actually, because I'm still a bit confused. So basically, they were shut down. Now, I've been hearing that they were rogue, meaning the vegetable stand was a rogue vegetable stand. But it goes back to the conversation for me that we always have, and we've had a lot of, is the health and wellness side of things, right? Now, fishermen and farmers are not, they have the exemption to work outside the home, but they can't sell. So what are they supposed to do? Eat it themselves? Like, this is it just doesn't make sense to me. Couldn't they do click and collect, or have times where you can go and collect your stuff? So this petition is going around to ask the government to allow fishermen and farmers to sell, to have their stands open. And I signed it yesterday. When I signed it, there were maybe 1,000 signatures. Now there are close to 5,000. And it was actually 800 and something because they were trying to get 1,000, and now it's up to about 5. But that made it kind of crystal clear for me. Like, are we really about health and wellness? Because it doesn't get much better than a fresh fruit or vegetable. Maybe I'm wrong. Why would that be in place? And then they're saying, well, apply. So here's the other question, which I'm sure someone's picked up on. Is this lockdown going to continue? Because if lockdown's only for a week, why would they apply for exemption? Why would they apply for an exemption? Just where's your mug? Sip some tea for me. Where's your daily hour mug?
You didn't just me pouring in there? I was just pouring in there. You see me?
I feel like we're trapped rats. Trapped rats, because we can't exercise, because we can only go 1 kilometer away. We can't get our fresh fruits and vegetables from our local stands. We can't get our fresh catch of the day. So then we're left with going to these supermarket and we don't know where these vegetables are coming from, these fruits are coming from. You have people that are sending me pictures of them cutting into their onion and the inside of the onion is rotten. So I would prefer to be able to go to my, local
greengrocer.
Well, I think it's quite concerning that my biggest takeaway from this is that we've had people saying it for ages that the government seems to be making a lot of quick decisions without much thought. What's the point of what Carla just said is that you've got people, the fishermen and the people out there, picking their crops, but if they're unable to sell them, they're just going to go bad, right? I mean, I just don't see the logic, and it's not well thought through. But I do have a question for the audience today. I do have a question, and here's the question. I mentioned 7 months ago, everyone seemed so smitten with the PLP that you delivered them a historic victory. So the question, since then, since I'm gathering that's when you all started disliking them and opened your eyes to see what I saw all this time. But where has the government gone wrong in their handling of the pandemic? I actually want to know what do you all think? Like, if everyone all of a sudden, is it because you feel like they're pushing the vaccine? Is it because they're locking you down in a shelter in place? Like, where do you feel the government has gone wrong in their handling of the pandemic? Jackie, do you feel they've gone wrong?
I feel that they've definitely made some wrong turns along the way, and they're having a hard time trying to pull the reins back in, get the trust of the community back, whatever trust they actually did have. I think where they went wrong was the quarantining time, because there was a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Inconsistencies. So a tourist can come in and on the second day after, so the first day of the negative results, they're allowed to go to restaurants, go to the grocery store, but then you're finding that on day 8 or even day 14, they're testing positive. So then you have to do contact tracing, but most of these tourists don't know the places that they're going. They don't know who they've been around. So then you pass it to the grocery clerk, who is there interacting with everybody, and she doesn't even know that she's positive, or he doesn't know that he's positive, because he doesn't have any symptoms and he's been doing everything he's supposed to do. So then he passes to somebody else that doesn't have the same makeup as them, so they actually get symptoms. So it's a lot of little things, and then you're giving special treatment to some but not special treatment to the others. So then you're causing conflict amongst the community, because you have some sports that are allowed to operate and some sports that aren't. So now you got these sports, instead of them uniting and going towards the government, they're butting heads and throwing each other underneath the bus. And it's just not the way that you should be uniting people to overcome something like this.
Indeed.
For me, it's the communication side of it. As you know, with the PR hat on, I felt they were doing a great job.
No,
I thought they were doing the communication part.
Yesterday I thought when I said that. Go ahead.
The communication part in the last, I would say, month, especially, in my opinion, month to 6 weeks has been dismal. And I think Sunday was a serious turning point, because when the premier said about, I have COVID, and he said it cavalierly, but low level. Again, and I said this on Monday, he forgot about the everyday man. This was a perfect learning opportunity. I'm not disputing the levels. And I was one of them that said, like, what you mean low level? But it was an opportunity for them to reach the community and explain. And he didn't take advantage of that. Now, I've been watching with interest with the whole vaccination thing. And I've said it 1,000 times. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. But I am uncomfortable with the narrative that's being pushed, that the vaccine is the only way to go. I'm uncomfortable with the suggestion or the threat that there could be consequences for not getting a vaccine. I think that comes across kind of dictatorship-y for a government, and that makes me uncomfortable. And again, I am open to a vaccination, but I want it to be my choice. I don't want to be guilt or shamed because or not being allowed to ... So I just think that the whole those workers the other day, there were so many moments that are now becoming so clear that you can't miss them, that there is an inconsistency in existence. And the truth seems like it's not forthcoming.
All right, I'll save my response. Let's go to the audience. So it looks like, Carla, basically communication transparency, you and Jackie have both kind of said. I think everyone in the audience agrees with you based on what I'm seeing. It looks like Dijon Simmons says communication and come in touch. Tyra Simmons, it's their miscommunication or lack of inconsistencies, which I think Jackie said just now as well. Dr. Seaman says they are not as transparent in matters. They are speaking down to the people while they are making errors and even breaking and bending laws for themselves. Shanna Smith says it's the blatant arrogance for me. Alan Young, Carla.
They went wrong when they allowed travelers, local and foreign, to come in without putting a tracing bracelet on everyone.
Carol, Jackie.
We have never been in this position. Therefore, the president is set with and without mistakes.
Yeah. Nicole Hollis says the numbers have risen from locals, not tourists. Let's be honest, and deal with how the numbers got this high. I think that
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think thank you for that, because I think when we say it's visitors, non-Bermudians, we're literally not taking accountability for our own actions. Larry Marshall Jr. says, I thought the FDM would have made a statement or something. The road to success starts far up, not 3 months before from an election. Well, this isn't the first time this week we've spoken about the FDM.
I mentioned that the other day. Where are they?
This would be a perfect opportunity to make your voice heard or be out there. And so if there's an election called in a couple years, I just don't know how it's going to sit. Like, where were the people that were running? Was it just for the day or 15 minutes of fame? Like, what were they asking? Rick Olson says, I am thanks to PLP are in power and think they have done a decent job. The OBA would have done exactly the same. The only fault I find is arrogance, which is a common trait in politics. Oh, Jackie, Rick, you're probably getting a membership soon. Samir Bailey. Carla.
Sorry. The contact tracing is also flawed from when someone tests positive. Relying on your GP to contact a positive case has proven it takes way too long to reach the person. So many find out days later they are positive.
Mm-hmm. Nicole Walker, Jackie.
When the numbers began to spike, they took too long to act. Some of the rules just don't make sense. And yes, the condescending tone when answering questions. Yes, condescending tones are, they'll turn you right off.
Further to Rick's point, if the OBA were in power, there would be a massive racial problems, riots, and violence. I don't disagree with him. I think that the OBA were up against many things, and I do think it would be more things at play at that point. So I guess the question is, I'm not promoting any of that stuff. I guess I'm asking, what is where's the end to this? Where's the common ground, if there's any? But there has to be a place. Patty Woolridge, and then we'll go to David, Carla.
The point is, folks need to stop partying and hanging out. The local transmission is the issue. Last Saturday, Woody's had a grand party, no mask, no distancing. Many Bermudians do not want to abide by guidelines.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say, actually.
David Michael Wilson, it's the double mindset. Do as I, the government, say, while I do as I please. Well, I think people, that leads to a question that many people hit. How did the premier contract it? I mean, there's contact tracing, right? People are legit. I want to talk about transparency. Obviously, we have to get to the news break. Then we have Assistant Police Commissioner Martin Weeks joining us. But I agree. I think a lack of transparency has led us to where we are in this situation, and it doesn't have to be this way. But the people in play come across so arrogant, as if, regardless of what we do, people are going to complain, then this is what we're going to get. So I'm not a government advisor. I mean, I'm probably too smart to ever be one of those people, but no disrespect. That's the truth. But I say that because I've said forever, I think governments, when they do wrong like this, are probably just poorly advised, or they're so arrogant that they refuse to be advised. That's just how I see it. It doesn't have to be this way. And I think the lack of transparency, the lack of communication, and what it seems like doing things on a whim, it's not working out. On that note, let's go to the news break. Another important conversation, important guest, Assistant Police Commissioner Martin Weeks. We have another issue plaguing our community, and it's not the pandemic. This is an endemic. Carla, over to you.
Under the Public Health COVID-19 Emergency Power Stay-at-Home Regulations 2021, registered commercial farmers and licensed fishermen are not required to work from home, and therefore they can tend to their crops and catch fish. According to the Minister of Home Affairs, Walter Rabban, regarding the issue where the Bermuda Police Service closed a roadside vegetable stand that is keeping with the regulations, where we are trying to keep movement and activity to a minimum during the 7 days that the current stay-at-home order is in effect. Any registered commercial farmer or licensed fisherman who needs to sell their products directly before next Tuesday can apply to the Ministry of National Security for an exemption. If the exemption is granted, persons will be given specific permission for the time and location, along with safety measures which must be observed. Minister Rabban goes on to say any registered commercial farmer or licensed fisherman that is granted permission to operate will be subject to the supervision Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Elephants are known as the most enormous land animal and a surprisingly gentle giant in the animal kingdom. Emotional, intelligent, and beautiful in the wild, sadly, elephant populations have been rapidly decreasing due to various threats, perhaps most significantly poaching. Save the Elephant Day aims to change this alarming trend by educating people about elephants and the plights they face, encouraging everyone to do their bit and help save them from extinction. Turning to weather, the temperature in Bermuda is expected to reach a high of 70 today. Fort Lauderdale, Florida will see a high of 84, and Manchester, UK, a high of 55. That's your Daily Hour news break.
I clearly said endemic. I meant epidemic. Endemic, like something different. You all wouldn't correct. But anyway,
listen, I don't do science.
You finished too fast. You couldn't.
I thought you made it up, to be honest. I was like, I don't know if that's a word, but I'll take it.
It's a word, PR girl. Anyway, that's why you're not got a cut. Look.
Wow.
Anyway, we're gonna take a quick water break, and then we'll bring our guests for the day. If you haven't already, make sure you share the link. Make sure you get this conversation out there to your network, because we need to find solutions in our community for what we're about to discuss. We'll be right back.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Just in time for spring cleaning comes a fragrant, naturally effective solution. Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Household Cleaners. Formulated not with the usual harsh chemicals like chlorine, ammonia, and petroleum derivatives, but powerful natural essences with garden-inspired scents. Safer for your children and pets, and aromatherapeutic too. This month we're featuring Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Laundry Detergent with geranium and lavender, multi-surface cleaners powered by the invigorating aromas of lavender, bluebell, and honeysuckle, and more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Carla Azul, Jackie Lambert, myself, Jamel Hartman, the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications, Lindo's, and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can also watch this and many other locally produced shows if you have One Communications cable. Carla, you said it was Elephant Day or something, celebrating elephants?
Mm-hmm.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, they are beautiful animals. Unless they're charging at you full speed ahead, they are beautiful animals. Look, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Assistant Police Commissioner Martin Weeks. Obviously, we had a murder. A gentleman was murdered just last week, Jordan Otterbridge, and I don't know if you guys saw the press conference with his wife, but it was so heartbreaking to watch that.
I couldn't watch it. She started talking, I couldn't watch it.
Yeah, it was a hard watch. And so the job today of the audience is we want to find ways that the community can play a part in it's not even just about capturing people who have committed crimes. It's about crime prevention. I know from the time we had Assistant Commissioner Antoine Daniels on, that's what we were talking about a lot. So we really want to focus on crime prevention as much as we do finding the people who are guilty for this behavior. So let's bring in Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Morning, Jamel. Morning, ladies.
Morning.
Morning.
Well,
So, I mean, this show, we talk about everything, we have fun, but there are very serious times and serious topics, and definitely this is one of them. I don't know if everyone had a chance to read the article with, I believe he's Detective Superintendent Nicholas Pedro the other day in the Royal Gazette, but he is quoted, he said, "Where's the outrage in the community about the murder of Jordan Utterbridge? Like, how did we get here? Like, what is being done to address what has become almost," and I think Carla may have used this word, correct me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, desensitized community as it relates to gun crime and just murder. Like, how did we get here, and how do we fix this?
yeah, no, I think you're right, Jamel. I know the family. Jordan's dad is a good friend of mine. You know, this is a guy who's doing everything right, and we end up, you know, he ends up dead. You know, something is very, very wrong here, and we need to fix it as a community. You know, this is not something the police can do. We can't arrest our way out of that. You know, people must know who's doing this stuff. People know this stuff, and it's for no reason. You know, this is just tit for tat. You know, because somebody upset somebody. This is not over turf wars or anything like that. You hear people saying, "Oh, it must be about turf wars." It's not about that. It's about disrespect. It's about somebody said something, or somebody went with someone's girlfriend, or if that's the level of offense, if you like, that's being, you know, resulting in people being shot. It's crazy. And, you know, these are people are all people's cousins and daughters and sons, and everyone knows who the people are. And we as a community need to fix that. We don't want to put them in jail. That's not helping us. You know, we've got to fix this before it gets to that point.
So you speak about community, but there seems to be a disconnect between community and the law enforcement. How can we work on to better the relationship so that we can possibly reduce overall crime? Well, I think, you know, you say that there's always going to be a disconnect between some parts of the community and law enforcement, because, you know, there's historical stuff, there is relationship stuff, because again, the police are the people are the police. You know, we're all related to people as well, and, you know, especially our younger officers, they've all got families in the community. We are the community too, but we're in a much better place here than an awful lot of other places. I mean, you look at communities in the States and communities in the UK and even down in the islands where police officers are not from the community. They drive in 2 hours from the suburbs, if you like, to come and police communities, and have no relationship with those communities. And that's not where we are in Bermuda. You know, we might not be where we were 50 years ago, but we're still in a lot better place than most other places. And, you know, there's always going to be a reluctance to call. There's always going to be the snitch culture, if you like, where people say, you know, you can't snitch to the police. And some of that is cultural. Some of it is driven by movies and, you know, TV shows and stuff like that people are trying to emulate. And we've got to get over that. You know, we've got to get to the point where we can call people, or we can, you know, within the community, grab hold of these young men and say, stop. You know, it doesn't need to be a person in uniform to do that. It's got to be a community thing. And I know maybe people will say, oh, well, that's all hairy-fairy, that's, you know, pie in the sky wish stuff. But that's where we got to go if we want to stop this. That actually leads into my next question, because we all know that Bermuda is a small place, so the odds are that somebody out there can offer information to help with an investigation. But how can you make somebody feel comfortable and confident that their name won't be leaked as somebody that was forthcoming with information?
Well, the first thing I'd say to that is we get an awful lot of information. Bermudians are actually very good at telling us what they can. So we get lots of bits and pieces which help us build cases. I mean, it's no coincidence that we put a lot of people in court and that there are a lot of people in jail right now for shooting people. It's because people tell us. But what they can't always do is tell us enough to get, into court, because what we know and what we can prove in court are two very different things. And so a lot of the time people will tell us stuff, and it really helps us get an idea of what's going on, and it helps us prevent the next one as well, because people tell us that was about this person is in danger because this may happen, that sort of stuff. We get a lot of communication. On the anonymity point, though, we have Crime Stoppers, and we got that brought to Bermuda for this reason. And I know people will say, well, people will know because you called a number and someone will know my voice and someone will know who I am. The phone's answered in Florida. It's answered by different people every day. They don't know one Bermudian from another. They don't ask the names. They just record the information. They give you a ID number, and then they send the information, not in the form of a tape recording of the person's voice, but in a written format to us, where we can then process it. And then if there is a court case that results from that, we send information back to Crime Stoppers. They inform the person via their ID number, by an email. I think, I don't exactly know how they do it. And they can collect rewards, because Crime Stoppers does offer rewards. But it is not a Bermuda organization. We have a chapter, if you like, of Crime Stoppers, but the bulk of the work and all of the phone calls go to Florida.
Now, Mr. Weeks, police are often criticized by the community for not doing enough to solve crimes. Can you briefly explain what goes into, you said earlier, you talked about the statement part of it, and that Bermudians do come forward, but can you give us a little insight in what goes into building an investigation?
Well, first off, just so you know, the uniform might be a giveaway, but I work on the other side of the house currently. So Mr. Daniels is your Assistant Commissioner of Crime, and all of the investigations and everything fall under Mr. Daniels. That said, I can still talk about the broad strokes of investigation. We have to end up with written statements that we can put together into a file, along with other evidence such as CCTV, such as DNA, fingerprints, gunshot residue results, all the scientific stuff that we can send to the office of the DPP, because the police don't decide who gets charged and who goes to court. We put together investigative files. Those files go to the DPP's office, who reviews them. Sometimes they send them back saying, we would like to see more evidence in this area, or we think that you could charge them with something different from what we were looking at, in which case you should probably get statements from these people. And then once we all agree on what that file looks like, the file goes to court, someone gets a summons, they go to court, and it goes from there. So investigations involve a lot of key pieces. We always have our forensics people doing the collecting of evidence at the start. All that stuff gets sent to various different places, to laboratories, and they come back and tell us what's of use, what identifiers there might be. We bring in people from overseas to do crime scene, particularly with shooting victims. We will bring in reconstructionists from the States. We send weapons that we recover away to have them analyzed. A lot of this stuff gets done outside of Bermuda at, really, professional places, because we just, as a small country, whilst we can do a lot of things, we can't sustain all of those functions. People often say, well, the Bermuda police is way too big for the size of the island. And if you look at it compared to a small town in the States or a town in the UK, we have a lot more policemen here. But a lot of that is because we have to do everything. We don't have the local federal Bureau of Investigation office to come in and do homicide investigations. We don't have county sheriffs to cover things. We don't have state police to do the road traffic stuff. We have to do everything. And we all have to do it all here in the island. The closest help we've got is the Metropolitan Police in London, 3,500 miles away. So we have to do all of that. But what we can't do, of course, is a lot of that investigative stuff. So sometimes we'll bring in consultants to do specialist things and, get that file put together the way we want it. We have to bring in lawyers sometimes, or the DPPs brings in lawyers for the big cases, because we are such a small location and we can't do everything. But it's quite a complicated process before we get to the point where we can put someone in court. And a lot of the information we get has to be verified in so many other ways. We can't just produce that information and say, this is what someone told us, therefore we're taking this person to court. We have to back that up.
Yeah. I think
okay.
I think the commissioner, Assistant Police Commissioner Martin Weeks, froze on the screen, but we have some questions and comments that we'll go through. Robert Durham says, snitching is not cool until it lands on your doorstep. We've got you back, sir. We've got you back. Go ahead, Carla.
Mr. Weeks, every time, and even outside of when a murder is committed, the community is, the message is repetitive. If you know something, say something.
Absolutely.
But yet, we still have a number of murders in Bermuda that have remained unsolved. How can the narrative be changed, which could affect people to come forward?
That's a very good question, Carla. I wish I had the answer to that one. What I can say about some of the murders that are unsolved, in some cases, we know that the person who committed that murder was subsequently murdered in another case. We know that some of the people who are involved in murders have left the jurisdiction, and we don't know where they are. There are a lot of circumstances that we can't say out, to the public what we know about. But when it comes to the narrative, I'm not sure I have an answer to that one. I would, and again, this is something that we need help with. We have what we call our independent advisory group, which is chaired by Dean Paris from the Hospitals Board. A lot of people know Dean. And it consists of all members of the public who have volunteered their time to help us work our way around these things and to help us with the messaging and to look at our processes and say, perhaps you could do something different there. And we encourage anyone to give us this kind of input, because if there's something out there that you think we should be doing and we're not, help us with that. Tell us about it. Let's talk.
I think I have, real quickly, just here, I think I have the answer to this question, but I only wanted to touch on it right after you spoke previously before we froze. This person, True Bermudian, says, good question. Good morning, sorry, just a question. Why don't we have parish sheriffs that connect with the community? And I think, I don't want to answer for you, but that's what the whole parish
constables. Yeah, and we do have them. Currently, with the whole COVID thing, that's not been as strong a part of our policing plan as we would like it to be, because we've had to bring people in to do a lot of COVID related stuff that has sucked up, if you like, the manpower. And so, but we do still have some dedicated parish constables, and their phone numbers are out there on our website. You can reach them. They might not be as visible in the community right now. We're not doing the town hall meetings and stuff like that, simply because we can't gather, and because we're trying to find police officers to fill the gaps created by people who are in quarantine, and also just these extra jobs that we've been asked to do in the way of curfew patrols and going to restaurants and bars and doing all of that compliance stuff that there isn't anyone else to do. So the police has had to step up and reduce some of the things that we would normally do. And the parish constable program, whilst there, is not up and active as much as we would like. I'm a former parish constable myself. I was in Smith's Parish for many years back in the 90s. And I think it's a very important part of policing. And it's very important for people to know their local police officer, or who their local police officer is, so they can make contact with that person. And we hope that once this COVID situation is back under control, if you like, that we'll be able to do more of that. We have a lot less police officers now than we did back in the days that people remember. We used to be able to put 2 parish constables out per parish, but we had 489 police officers then, and now we're under 400. We're down in the 380s, 390s, although we are recruiting. So if you are interested in the career in police, please go to our website and fill in the form, because we are looking to recruit some new constables this year.
Well, I've seen an increase in people saying they couldn't find work, so there's an opportunity right there. Go ahead, Carla.
Mr. Weeks, I appreciate the fact that Mr. Daniels does the crime side, but I wanted to ask this to those in the community who choose to remain silent despite having information that could lead to convictions. Is there one thing you wish that they could see through the lens of the victims' families? If there was, what would it be?
Well, if you didn't watch that press conference with Mr. Lightbourne's wife, then, I'm not sure how we can reach you, because that was powerful. We've had other mothers and wives come on, but I think that this week's press conference with Mrs. Lightbourne was powerful. If you don't tell us, it's more harm in your community, not someone else's community, not the next town, not the next city, your community that you're harming by not stopping or helping us stop this stuff.
Going to the audience, got a couple of questions. Tamara Richardson asked, is there any work being done to put together a profile of the people found guilty of these crimes? If we can't figure out where we go wrong with them, we can't expect to stem this. And that's a great point. The psychological profiles, backgrounds, like, is there anything like that happening?
Yes, it does. Yeah. We actually have a group called the Interagency Gang Enforcement Team that consists of people from a whole variety of disciplines. And we monitor people who have been convicted, but also people that are starting to get into the gang lifestyle that come to our attention through the schools, through Child and Family Services, all of these agencies, and they're all at this meeting, and it meets once a month, and it's chaired by Mr. Daniels currently. It used to be chaired by me when I was Assistant Commissioner of Crime. And we discuss all of these people. We have people there who are clinical psychologists who bring in that kind of information to try to work out how we can tackle this in ways other than arresting people.
Got a few people just letting you know, you were saying Lightbourne, that Otterbridge was the last. No worries.
Going, but yes, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Jordan Otterbridge.
Sorry,
Lincoln. Sorry, I didn't. Lincoln's his dad. Lincoln's a friend of mine. Sorry, Lincoln. I didn't mean to call the wrong name, but yeah, we know who we're talking about. Lincoln, Jordan Otterbridge.
Absolutely. Sheikha Reyna says 10 years ago, the community was told that murders were committed with the same singular handgun being leased around. Are there more handguns on the island now? And if so, how?
Our information is that there are a few handguns. I mean, it was never just the one. The FBI, who do our gun analysis, so when we take the bullets, because the bullets can be checked under microscopes, and you can see the striping on them that comes from certain barrels, and they reckon that we've always had about 5 firearms that are in use at any given time, and those are the guns that are being used. We occasionally get one of those guns, and occasionally, I guess, more come in. We think that they come in stripped down into their individual parts, mixed in with other metal things, welded into things. Just the same as people can get drugs into the island, they can get the parts of firearms in and then put them back together.
Indeed. Rosalind Famous asked, would the cumbersome investigative process also be part of the reason for lack of outrage? Could it be a combination of both?
Well, I got to agree with Rosalind that the time it takes to get to court has got to be part of that. And at the best of times, without COVID, it can sometimes take a couple of years for a case to get to Supreme Court once you've been through all the various different stages. And people, they're probably going, which one was that again? Who that's going to happen. And I have to agree that if there was a way for us to get things into court quicker, I mean, we've had this same conversation about the COVID cases. You know, people are complaining, well, no one's been to court. Well, yeah, because it takes time to get to court, even to magistrates' court. And with courts being closed on a regular basis because of COVID and all the rest of it, it's taken us some time to get even the first people in. And you're just seeing now some of the cases from COVID that are showing up in court because people were saying, well, you know, obviously no one's going to court, so why should I have to abide by the rules? So there is definitely that. I've got to agree with her on that one, that, you know, it affects people's willingness if they think nothing's happening.
So as we talk about education a lot on this show, we've had the minister on probably twice over the last 30 days, but what's the educational component of this? I know you said you, as far as prevention and profiles, you kind of know who might be going that route, but where's the education part? What are the Bermuda police? Is there something being done? I remember when I was younger, I'm not sure in Carla's day, because she was long before me, but they used to have the police bus that came around to the schools, right? Remember those? That was
yes.
Okay. What kind of work? And this is on the back of the whole community constable, the parish constable. Are there things going on in schools to combat that? I know there's the Pastor Leroy Bean thing, but just more on a younger level to really catch people while they're young.
The answer is yes. Outside of the COVID situation, I'm sorry to keep repeating that because it has changed everything we've done, but we have partnered with the Ministry of National Security to run the Gang Resistance Education and Training Program. That's the GREAT program, and that's taught in the middle schools. We also have our own in-house lesson plans for going into primary schools, and often not, that's the community action team officers and parish constables who are doing the primary school, and then we have specially trained officers who've done the gang resistance education and training course in the US. It's a program that was designed by the ATF in the US. It's run in the schools all across the United States, and we've been doing it here on and off since the 1990s. In fact, I taught it at Clearwater Middle School for a number of years. Excuse me, not COVID.
Wow.
And it's a great program. Yeah, big pun there, but it is really good. It teaches a lot of stuff, not only about gang resistance and not getting involved. And if you think about the DARE program in the States, it's a similar program, except it's about gangs as opposed to about drugs.
Mm-hmm. I just go ahead, Carl. So, go ahead.
I don't know if you know this, Mr. Weeks, but like Jamel and I grew up in an area that was really central part of the gang violence in 2009. My question is, back then, when we had, remember, there's 16 murders over that span of time, the community as a whole knew that there was a gang war as such going on. And then it seems like now, as we're in 2021, it almost seems random. Is that worrisome to the police as a whole? Because before, at least, you kind of knew it's this versus that. But then we go through this lull of no murders, and then one pops up. Is that worrisome for the community? And I don't mean to be alarmist, but I do think it's a real question as such.
Worrisome? Yes, it's always worrisome. The randomness, I think perhaps that's a perception, because we know that there are still two gangs that are actively trying to get each other and who are involved in these shootings, and often or not, it's also part of one of the main gangs from that central area that split and has a feud between the two warring parties, the two warring parts, if you like. One who's moved out to the east end of the island, one half, and the other half that still remains in the central area, and they are constantly trying to get each other. And the reason it doesn't happen as often as they would like is because we get a lot of information and we are disrupting those activities on a regular basis. If we hear that something's going down, we're putting police officers front and center where people can see them. And a lot of this stuff gets put off and doesn't actually happen because we are disrupting the behavior, or we're going around and arresting people before they get the chance to carry out another shooting. We learned a lot from that time, 2009. You know, everything changed for us back then. We had gone from a situation where we had one murder at most a year to having a shooting every 10 days. So we learned an awful lot of how to police this in that short period. We brought some people in who had masses of experience. We had a guy named Dave Murfield who came in from the UK who'd run a big anti-gun and anti-gang initiative in West Midlands Police, and he became our Assistant Commissioner of Crime for a couple of years, and he changed the way that we did things. And so we're not going to be in that position now. We are still going to get this warring factions going against each other, but we do things very differently to prevent the amount of shootings that we had then and to disrupt that criminal behavior. But sometimes, we can't be everywhere all the time, and they get through and they get to someone, or they get to someone they think is the person they're looking for. Unfortunately, some of the people who are actually pulling the trigger are not as switched on perhaps as the people who are running these enterprises. And so we get these horrible situations where somebody gets shot who has nothing to do with it.
Indeed. Before we let you go, just speak to the community, people who may know something or know someone who may know something, and from the victim's family, the most recent victim, Mr. Otterbridge, just tell them how they can help bring a stop to this.
It goes back to what Carla said. If you know something, say something. And it doesn't have to be to us. It can be to Crime Stoppers. It can be to Pastor Bean and his team. They're easily contactable, and none of them are police officers. And we just have to get in and, stop this. We have to get in and disrupt this in all sorts of ways, whether it's finding people jobs, whether it's giving people options, whether it's giving people opportunities, or whether it's, locking people up for the rest of their lives. But we have to do something, and it's not just going to be the police. It's everybody's responsibility to make this island safer for all of us, regardless of where you live, regardless of what your family's been like over the years. It can't be about that. We can't have people gunned down because people just don't want to help or don't want to get involved. We've all got to get involved.
And I agree. Assistant Commissioner of Bermuda Police Service, Martin Weeks, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation. And as always, we always have a door open for the Bermuda Police Service for these kinds of conversations. So thanks again.
I'm happy to come on anytime, Jamel, but I do want a Daily Hour mug.
Oh, we'll get you one. We'll get you one. Look, COVID might impact the timing of getting it to you, but we have you taken care of.
All right. Love it. All right, okay, ladies. Jamel, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you again another time.
All right, talk soon. Ooh, Carla, Vix is gonna get his before you. I tell you.
He better not get his before me because we live in the same place.
Well, you and I don't, but yeah, the mugs do live in the same place as you, Jackie. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with the feud and wrap up today's important conversation and discussion. Stick with us. Just cheesing.
At Bermuda Communications Group Limited, we love to help businesses and organizations of all sizes across various industries. Find out how we've been working with our clients to improve their customer experience and increase their revenue. Send us an email to contact@bermudacommunications.com to see how we can assist you next.
All right, welcome back to the big show. It's the ladies, Carla Smiley Zool and Jackie the comedian Lambert. Carla smiles a lot. You look, if you go back and watch our show, she's always laughing at something, and I'm just like, what the heck is she laughing at? No, like I don't know. Maybe she sees something in her glasses that we can't see.
She's a happy person.
I am, I'm so full of joy.
Okay. All right. Well, look, thanks again to Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks for coming on. These conversations are important, so I encourage people to share them. Please share them. Let's talk about them at our. We're all stuck inside. Let's talk about these things. This is a perfect time to have these discussions, what we can do to make our community safer. All right, here's the feud. Are you both ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let me make sure I've got the sounds you're gonna need. Yep. Okay, just want to make sure I had the right sounds for you. All right, here we go. Why that face, Jackie? What happened? Help them out, folks. First question. Name a lie people tell their doctors.
I drink water.
I did not eat those chips.
I eat vegetables.
I eat right is number 3.
I exercise.
Nope.
I don't do.
Help them out, folks. Name a lie people tell their doctors. I don't smoke is actually number 2. Someone put I don't smoke.
We did drink water.
I don't drink alcohol.
No.
I don't drink.
Do I lie and tell my doctor?
But it's number 7.
What do I? I feel good. That's the lie right there.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Check her. Look at her. So, number 1 answer. Name a lie people tell their doctor. Number 1 was I feel fine. Number 2, I don't smoke. Number 3, I eat right. Number 4, they are in pain. Number 5, weight. They lie about their weight to the doctor. Taking medication. And don't drink was number 7. So Carla figured it out, folks. Just took her a while.
My doctor knows I drink.
Took a while. Here we go. Number 2. I don't have this problem. I don't know if you guys do. Name a downside to owning a fancy sports car.
Tune-ups.
Jackie said upkeep. Upkeep is number 1. Yeah. Upkeep.
Yeah, same thing. Tune-up.
High insurance.
Expensive.
2 small. 3 expensive. 4 gets stolen. 5 6 uses a lot of gas. And people jealous. Number 7. Who cares about people jealous? Final one for 3. Help them out, folks. Upkeep, like Sean said it too. Look at that. Here's the final one. This is something you all look. Everybody's gonna have an answer. I expect everyone to answer. Give them a moment. Here we go. Name something specific everyone complains about.
Their weight.
It's not even on here.
Really? Well, I would say a vaccination, but this ain't right from that time.
That would be number 1, right?
What does everyone
Oh my god.
The weather is too hot, it's too cold.
Weather is number 2.
Oh, all right, Amanda, we got it. We're getting there.
Traffic.
Taxes was number 3. I think someone said it. No, it's not traffic. Traffic was number 5. Here we go. There's the answer.
Yeah, you're right.
See, I'm always broke, so it ain't nothing to me. I complain when I don't got money.
So name something specific everyone complains about. Money number 1, weather number 2, taxes number 3, work number 4, and traffic number 5. All right, everyone's saying money now.
Nobody complains about their spouse.
Money.
Nobody complains about their spouse, Carla. What are you talking about? And any final thoughts on today's show, Carla?
We have to rally together as a community to get these murderers in court. Seriously, we can't stay quiet.
What you got, Jackie?
I agree. It has to be community because you have people that are getting caught in the crossfire and they're innocent. And at some point, people have to pay so that we can protect the people that aren't even involved.
Indeed. Carla, you got some inspiration for us. It's the daily inspiration, folks. Just going to give us something for the weekend to feel good about.
Listen, if I don't do it, who will? Charles Jeffers II, the new BTA director.
CEO.
That goes for a lot of things. I like that.
Yeah, it is. I think
when he said it yesterday, I was writing it down. I'm like, that's my quote for tomorrow.
I think maybe Dijon actually quoted him right after said it. But yeah, definitely a good one. Like if we don't do it, who will? So thank you to Charles. Thanks again to Assistant Commissioner of Police Martin Weeks and the entire Bermuda Police Service that trust our platform to have these conversations. We have a part to play, folks. We definitely have a part to play. Real quickly, if you have the WhatsApp number for the show, we're going to be sending a text out. So obviously, most people know that on May 4th, we'll be celebrating 1 year and we have some big things happening then. So we want to involve you in that. So if you're interested in being part of a promo, we'll send you some questions. and you answer them, and you can make the video that we're going to do. So if you if you're interested, just send us a WhatsApp. You remember the number, Carl?
Yeah, 500-0076, something like that. No, 517-0076.
517-0096.
0096.
There we go. 517-0096. If you want to be a part of the promotion we're doing to celebrate 1 year, just send us a WhatsApp text there, and we will do our best to include you. 1 year. Carla goes 1 year. Yeah, she acts her age, folks. I get you. Look at that. I give you a compliment for being young. I did.
There's always an extreme there.
Oh, Jackie, what team you want? That's why you ain't got your mug.
Wow! Oh my God!
We're getting it for you. We're getting it for you. Anyway, folks, thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you next week. She's Carla Zul. She's Jackie Lambert. I'm Jamel Hartman. Don't forget to tune in to Juggling Jason in about an hour on the Full 100 radio station. My friends, make it a great and safe weekend. Happy lockdown.